Hi, I'm Elowen. I've always been the one with the perfect report cards. The one who stayed up till 3 a.m. studying while my siblings were out partying. That was my life until last spring, when everything I thought I knew about my family shattered like cheap glass. Family meeting in the living room? Frank, my father, called out one Sunday evening. His voice had that forced cheerfulness that always made me nervous. I sat on the couch next to my brother Mitch, who was scrolling through his phone, barely passing his classes but somehow still Dad's favorite. My sister Natalie waltzed in late as usual, tossing her perfect hair over her shoulder. "So, kids, I wanted to talk about college plans." Frank clasped his hands together, looking at each of us. "Mitch, your acceptance to state is something to be proud of. Full ride for your football, but I'll be covering your apartment, food, and spending money." Mitch barely looked up. "Cool, thanks, Dad." "And Natalie, honey, we've got your NYU tuition all set up. The fashion program there is top-notch." Natalie squealed and hugged him. "Thanks, Daddy. I'm gonna need a new laptop, too." "Of course, Princess. Whatever you need." Then he turned to me. His smile faded slightly. "I'd just been accepted to Princeton with a partial scholarship. I needed help with the rest." "What about you, Elowen? What's your plan?" "Well, I got that scholarship to Princeton, but it only covers... your mother and I have been talking." He interrupted me, glancing at Olivia, my mom, who suddenly found the carpet fascinating. "We think it would build character for you to handle your own education." I felt like I'd been punched. "What?" "You've always been so independent, so capable." His tone was dismissive. "Your siblings need more support." "But I've worked harder than both of them combined." My voice cracked. "I've maintained a 4.0 GPA while working part-time. That's exactly it. You're so resourceful. You'll figure it out." "That's not fair. Why am I being punished for doing well?" Frank's expression hardened. "You're not entitled to our money, Elowen. Frankly, I don't think you deserve a penny." The room went silent. Natalie looked uncomfortable. Mitch finally looked up from his phone. "Is this some kind of joke?" I looked at Olivia. "Mom?" She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Your father makes the financial decisions, honey." "This is bullshit!" I stood up, shaking. "Mitch barely passes his classes. Natalie failed algebra twice." "Watch your tone, young lady," Frank warned. I looked around at my family. Frank's smug face, Olivia's averted eyes, Mitch's awkward shrug, Natalie's fake sympathy. "Fine. I don't need your money. I don't need any of you." I stormed out, slamming the door behind me. In my room, I wiped angry tears and opened my laptop. Community college websites, part-time job listings, scholarship applications. If they thought this would break me, they were dead wrong. I'd make it without them. And someday, they'd regret this moment more than anything. 2 years later, I was drowning in exhaustion. Community college during the day, waitressing evenings, and stocking shelves at the grocery store overnight. My apartment was a shoebox with paper-thin walls and a shower that only ran cold. "You look like hell, Elowen." My classmate Tara handed me a coffee as I nearly fell asleep during our study session. "Thanks for the newsflash. 3 jobs will do that to you." "Still no help from your folks?" "Nope." Meanwhile, Mitch wrecked his second car and Daddy bought him another one. I hadn't planned to visit home that weekend, but Olivia had been calling non-stop about some family dinner. When I arrived, something felt off. Frank was overly nice, showing me his new sports car while avoiding any mention of my education. "Business is booming, kiddo. Reynolds and I just closed another major deal." I nodded, watching him fidget with his expensive watch. "That's great. So you could help with my tuition now?" His smile vanished. "Don't start that again. You've made your choices." During dinner, Natalie wouldn't stop talking about her semester abroad in Paris. "Daddy's paying for the whole thing, even spending money." I gripped my fork tighter. "Must be nice." Later, I went to grab my old laptop from the study when I heard Frank and Olivia arguing in their bedroom. "She was in your office earlier. What if she found something?" "Relax, Olivia. She doesn't know anything." "But what if she figures it out? About the accounts?" "She won't. Just keep the secret like we've been doing." Elowen's too busy working her little jobs to notice anything. My heart pounded. Secret accounts? I snuck down to Frank's home office after everyone went to bed. His computer was locked, but I knew where he kept his financial records. Behind the family photo that conveniently excluded me. Nothing obvious jumped out until I found a business card. James Reynolds, Chief Financial Officer. I pocketed it. The next day, I called Reynolds' office. "I'd like to discuss my college fund." His secretary hesitated. "Your name?" "Elowen Marshall." 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from a nervous Reynolds. There must be some confusion. I don't handle personal accounts for the Marshall family. That's weird because my siblings seem to have substantial funds. His eyes darted to the photo on his desk. "I really can't discuss." "Did you know my father told me I don't deserve a penny for college while fully funding my siblings?" Reynolds shifted uncomfortably. "Look, your father and I have been partners for 15 years. There are ways he structures things?" "What ways?" "Let's just say the children's trusts are unusually specific. One child is deliberately excluded." "That would be me." "I've said too much." He stood up. "But if I were you, I'd look into the Marshall Family Trust. The real one, not the public one." As I left, pieces clicked together. This wasn't about merit or building character. This was about control. Frank couldn't control me like he did Mitch and Natalie, so he weaponized money against me. Fine. Two could play that game. I'd find out exactly what Frank was hiding. 5 years flew by. I graduated with honors, worked my way up from intern to junior analyst at Berkshire Financial, and built a life without a penny from the Marshall fortune. "The quarterly reports look exceptional, Elowen." My boss slid the file across his desk. "The promotion to senior analyst is yours." I smiled, thinking about how far I'd come and how far I still needed to go. Later that week, I accidentally bumped into James Reynolds at a charity gala. Well, Elowen Marshall, heard you're making waves at Berkshire." "Small world, isn't it? How's business with my father?" Reynolds glanced around nervously. "Complicated. Frank's methods have become aggressive lately." "I'm shocked." I deadpanned, sipping my champagne. "Speaking of complicated, remember our chat about the Marshall Family Trust?" His face paled. "I shouldn't have mentioned that." "But you did. And now I'm curious why my father's assistant Vanessa keeps sending trust documents to offshore accounts." Reynolds nearly choked. "How did you—" "I have friends in interesting places." One of those friends was Vanessa herself, who I'd been meeting for coffee every Wednesday for 3 months. "Your father's going ballistic," Vanessa told me the next day, sliding a USB drive across the table. "He can't figure out who's accessing the records." "What's on this?" "Everything. Account numbers, transfer records, the separate trust agreements for Mitch and Natalie, the documents showing how he deliberately excluded you and told the family lawyers you waived your rights." "Did I now? How generous of me." "There's more. Remember Carl Whitman, your dad's former partner? The one who supposedly embezzled funds and got fired?" Vanessa nodded. "Frank set him up. Carl's been gathering evidence for years." The pieces were falling into place. I spent weeks organizing the evidence, creating a bulletproof case of Frank's manipulation. Then I made the call. "Olivia, it's me. I think it's time we had a family dinner." "Oh, sweetheart, really? After all this time?" "Tell Frank I want to apologize. Tell him I've realized he was right." The trap was set. But before I could hang up, Olivia's voice turned desperate. "Elowen, wait. Whatever you're planning, please don't." "What do you mean?" "I know you've been talking to Vanessa and Reynolds." I froze. "How did you—" "Mothers know things. Please let this go. Your father will destroy you." "Like he tried to destroy Carl Whitman? Like he's manipulated you and my siblings for years?" "It's not that simple. There are things you don't understand." "Then help me understand. Come clean at dinner." "I can't betray him." "But betraying me was easy, right? Standing by while he cut me off?" Silence stretched between us. "I was wrong," Olivia finally whispered. "But this path you're on, It only leads to more pain. No, Mom. It leads to justice. Sunday at 7. Be there. I hung up and checked my watch. Just enough time to meet Carl Whitman and finalize the last piece of my plan. Frank Marshall had no idea what was coming. Sunday night. The Marshall mansion looked exactly the same, pretentious and cold. I straightened my blazer and rang the doorbell, laptop bag over my shoulder. Frank opened the door with a fake smile. My prodigal daughter returns. Save the act, Dad. I'm here for dinner, not a performance. The dining room was a museum of tension. Mitch fidgeted with his Rolex while Natalie wouldn't meet my eyes. Olivia kept glancing nervously at Frank. So, Elowen, I hear you've been doing well at that little company? Frank carved the roast with theatrical precision. Berkshire Financial. Not exactly little. Still, nothing like owning your own business. Speaking of which, kids, Marshall Enterprises is expanding to the West Coast next quarter. Mitch perked up. That mean more money in our accounts? Always thinking about the bottom line. Good man. I took a deep breath. Speaking of accounts, I've been looking into some interesting financial patterns lately. Frank's knife paused. Boring dinner conversation. Oh, I disagree. I pulled out my laptop. Did you know there are actually 2 Marshall family trusts? The real one that benefits Mitch and Natalie, and the fake public one that supposedly includes me? Natalie's fork clattered against her plate. What is she talking about, Daddy? Nonsense. Your sister's upset about ancient history. Ancient history like the document you forged with my signature waiving my rights to the family trust? I turned my laptop around, displaying the evidence. Or the offshore accounts where you've hidden assets from the IRS? Frank stood abruptly. That's enough. You come into my house with fabricated... The doorbell rang. That would be my guests. Olivia looked like she might faint. Guests? Vanessa entered first, carrying a stack of files. Then James Reynolds, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. Finally, a man I barely recognized, older, grayer, but standing tall. Carl? Frank went pale. What the hell is this? Carl Whitman smiled coldly. Hello, Frank. Been a while since you framed me for embezzlement. You all need to leave. Now. After I stole my college fund? After you set up Carl? After you lied to everyone in this room? I handed Mitch and Natalie folders. These are the trusts Dad created for you. $5 million each. And this is the document he forged saying I declined my share. Mitch flipped through the pages, face darkening. Is this true, Dad? Don't be ridiculous. She's manipulating you. Reynolds stepped forward. I can confirm everything she's saying. I've been keeping records. Frank lunged at him. You backstabbing. Stop. Natalie was crying now. Why would you do this to your own daughter? Because she wouldn't bend to his will, Olivia said quietly. Because she was the only one who ever stood up to him. Frank turned to me, suddenly desperate. Look, let's fix this. I'll set up an account for you right now. The same amount as your siblings. More. Too late. The SEC already has copies of everything. The IRS, too. His face contorted. You ungrateful little... Save it. I've already established the Frank Marshall Accountability Scholarship for students whose parents abandoned them financially. Funded by the settlement you'll be paying after the fraud charges. You're destroying this family. Mitch stood beside me. No, Dad. You did that. Natalie joined us. We're with Elowen. As Frank was served with papers, as his empire began crumbling around him, he tried one last time. I'm your father. I'm sorry. Please, Elowen. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing but pity for this small, pathetic man. You don't deserve my forgiveness. And I don't need your money anymore. What would you have done in Elowen's shoes? Would you have rejected your father's last-minute offer of money like she did? Or would you have accepted it while still exposing his wrongdoing? The line between justice and revenge can be thin. Where do you draw it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of sweet revenge against toxic family members, hit that like button and subscribe for more compelling stories that make you think. New videos every day.